It is the Tennessee Titans and the New England Patriots. As you see, the Patriots are favored by 4.5 points in this game. I think the spread started at 5 or 5.5, and it's gone down to the 4.5 for New England. So the Titans are the number 6 seed, and the Patriots are the number 3 seed. Patriots are favored by 4.5. There is maybe rain expected in this football game. I've heard that there could be some rain, and in the case of rain, I've heard it could be heavy rain. And if that's the case, I think that's interesting because we know that New England is probably better off in playing games that are that style of ugly, while the Titans as well, if they can try and run the football like they do, I don't think it would necessarily be a bad thing for Houston. But I do say that New England is used to those type of games a little bit more, having played in New England, having played in these games in January, and a lot of their players being experienced in those type of games. So I would give a slight advantage to New England in a rainy game, but I don't think it really changed too much in terms of who would win or lose this game. So that being said, the Titans did win 34-10 last year. I think a lot of people forgot about that game. The Titans did dominate the Patriots last year. That game was in Tennessee. That game was also before the Patriots kind of turned it around last year, and they went on a losing skid a little bit at the end of the year. They lost to the Titans. They lost to the Steelers. They had some bad games. They lost to the Miami Miracle. And New England kind of had to regroup. So they were a different New England team that we saw in the playoffs and versus Tennessee. But Mike Vrabel, Dean Pease, what I remember from that game, they had a very good game plan going versus Tom Brady. They really took a lot of the short passing game away. They took away a lot of the screens, a lot of the dump-offs to James White. They really forced Tom Brady to throw the ball down the field, and they also forced pressure up the gut of Tom Brady. So I'm sure that the Patriots will adjust to what they saw in that game in terms of probably a plan for blitzes up the middle, which is what Mike Vrabel and Dean Pease sent at Tom Brady. They also sent, Jarrell Casey is a force in the middle, which I'll get to, which will be one of the keys to containing the Titans' pass rush and having time for Tom Brady to throw. On the other side of the ball, in that game, Marcus Mariota had the best game of his season last year in that game. He was super efficient. He was extremely accurate in that game. Corey Davis killed the Patriots in that game. And in the last 2 games, really, they've played. The first one was in the playoffs. The Patriots won that game in 2017. It wasn't really relatively close. But Corey Davis was the one on the receiving end, I believe, of 2 touchdowns in that game. So Corey Davis has had success versus the Patriots and a little bit versus Stephon Gilmore in that game last season. Then you look at, will Tannehill be able to take advantage like Mariota did? Possibly. What I'm trying to get to here is, yes, you could. The Titans had a good plan last year. Obviously, they have a different coordinator this year. They no longer have LaFleur, who is now the head coach of Green Bay. But they don't have Mariota in this game. They have Tannehill. Tannehill's played better than Marcus, and he's a better quarterback than Marcus. But Tannehill has actually struggled versus the Patriots in New England. Now, it's a different supporting cast, but when he was in Miami, he's had plenty of experience versus New England and plenty of experience losing in New England as well. So it goes kind of both ways. I feel like Tannehill has the possibility of having a good game in this one, but I don't think a quarterback could have played better than Mariota played in that game in Tennessee last year. Because when you look back at that game, a lot of it was just really nice throws, really nice touch passes, down like to the sidelines, down the seams. I mean, it was just really nice job by Marcus Mariota in that game. Now, the Titans have been a lot better team with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, but they haven't really beat anyone besides Kansas City. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people are really on this Titans train. A lot of people are like, Titans are playing so good right now. They're playing amazing. They've been way better since Tannehill has come in. But when you really take a look at how they've played versus teams they've played, I mean, they beat Kansas City, which is impressive. They beat Kansas City at home when Patrick Mahomes was coming off of his injury. So I don't know if that was necessarily like Kansas City at their fullest strength or 100%. Mahomes was coming off that injury the first week after being off multiple weeks, and that was before Kansas City figured out their defense and how to really get the best out of their defense. So Kansas City's defense was still very susceptible to things that they were susceptible to, in particular the run game. Derrick Henry had a huge game in that one. And then you look at the other games they've played. I mean, they haven't really played a good defense. And Tannehill's been playing great. He's been playing great. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but the Chargers are the closest to a good defense they played. They played the Chiefs, who hadn't turned it around yet, as I brought up. They played the Raiders, the Colts, the Houston Texans twice, who I just said doesn't have a very good defense. Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, New Orleans, I guess, but New Orleans won that game. So, and that was in Tennessee. I mean, really, Tannehill hasn't played good defenses yet. He has certainly not played a defense that is capable like the Patriots are capable of, when they're playing at their strengths and when they're playing as good as they can play. So that's interesting to me. How much do we take into the fact that Tannehill has played really well and has been sharp and has been effective, but also at the same time hasn't really played the greatest of competition? It's kind of a juggling act there. Now, looking at the Patriots offense playing the Titans defense, one of the things I also took away from the game last year was, despite the inefficiency from the Patriots offense versus the Titans defense, which was a better unit last year, by the way, Titans defense, and I would also say the Patriots offense was better last year, so it goes both ways. Julian Edelman had a good game in that game. He had over 100 yards, and that was when Tennessee actually was healthier in the secondary. They still had Malcolm Butler back there. They now are bringing back Adoree Jackson in the lineup. He should be good to go. But Logan Ryan is the guy I expect to draw a majority of Julian Edelman. And I know Logan Ryan pretty well because he was a Patriots corner for like the first 5 years of his career. Pretty decent player, smart player, but I think he would have a difficult time if it is in one-on-one coverage versus Edelman. I think he would be the guy because he, for a majority of the snaps, lines up in the slot. They could put Jackson on Edelman, which I don't know if that would be the wisest choice, though, because Jackson is more of a taller, faster corner. I don't necessarily know if he has the quickness from side to side to handle an Edelman. I think he would be better used against Sanu or possibly N'Keal Harry, but that's just my opinion. I don't know what Vrabel or Pease are going to do in this matchup. For the Patriots offense, like I've been saying week after week after week, they need a receiver to step up, whether that's N'Keal Harry or Mohamed Sanu. They need somebody to come up as that number 2 target and make some plays. And I just don't know if I've seen it consistently enough. At this point, it looks to be N'Keal Harry. He's been effective in running the football. He's been effective in catching the football in some fades and some back shoulders. He doesn't create a lot of separation, but he is a guy in the red zone that the Titans will have to be aware of. And I could see him scoring a touchdown in this game. The running game, Sony Michel and Rex Burkhead. Actually, Rex Burkhead, to me, has been the better of the two runners over the past few weeks, and I've been more of a Sony guy than a Rex guy in the past. But Rex is running with a different type of shiftiness and power that's been very interesting. Also, the Patriots have been a lot better on the ground of the last 3 or 4 games. Really, they've been a lot just more effective, efficient with their runs. And honestly, I don't understand versus Miami why they did not run the ball more. I think they'll try to get back to that in this game. The difficulty for that will be that Tennessee is actually a really good run defense. They are in the top 6 versus the run this year, but they actually, they're 10th in adjusted line yards. New England's offensive line is 9th in adjusted line yards. So it's a very close matchup in terms of New England's run blocking versus Tennessee's run defense. New England is stronger actually in adjusted sack rate. They're 5th in that rate versus 14th in adjusted sack rate. Tennessee getting after the quarterback. So from DVOA, from, the stats, it does appear that New England has the advantage on the offensive line versus Tennessee's defensive line, but I would call it relatively even because they're both pretty close in both stats. I think the guy that they really need to focus on blocking is Jarrell Casey. He had a good game versus New England last year, and lucky for New England, the strength of their offensive line this year has been their guard play. Joe Tooney is ranked 5th by PFF. Shaq Mason is ranked 12th. Their tackles have been the weakness this year. Cannon has been the worst of anybody. ranking 39th, and Wynn is ranked 36th. Karras, their center, is ranked 21st, so not bad. But the guards have been really good for New England, especially lately. Mason has been playing very well. In terms of the defensive line, I don't really see anyone that's a true pass rusher on Tennessee outside of, Landry can have his moments and Casey can have his moments as well. But the good thing for New England is that Casey matchup will come versus Tooney and Mason. I'm also intrigued to see if they do double team him in certain scenarios because he's the guy that they need to really pay attention to. So I don't see New England really pushing around Tennessee in the run game. But Tennessee is susceptible in the pass game. And like I said, I feel like Edelman will be that guy. And also trying to getting creative with plays to James White and their running backs, I think would be the way to go. But like I said, last year, Tennessee was good at defending those passes out of the backfield and were really all over it. So they're going to need to find creative ways to get the ball to Sanu and to Harry as well. I think Brady is going to have to rely a little bit on the running game and then work off of the play action to suck those linebackers up a little bit because I just don't see New England being a team that can just consistently pass. Like I've been saying, I feel like they need to be in good situations to pass the football in passing situations. If it's 3rd and 10 plus, I'm not going to expect New England to convert. Tennessee is 8th on 3rd down. They're good 3rd down defense. New England is not a very good 3rd down offense. Just looking at the numbers here, New England is 17th on 3rd down offense. So they're average, and Tennessee is an elite unit on 3rd down defense. And then when you look at the red zone, I think this is very intriguing. So when New England gets the ball into the red zone, I do believe they will be able to score. Something interesting about this matchup, New England's red zone offense has been very bad this year for New England's standards. They're actually only ranked 26th this year for their red zone offense. But Tennessee, surprisingly, is ranked 31st in red zone defense. So I think if New England gets it to the red zone, they can actually score, which is something that has been the big Achilles heel of New England, is when they've gotten to the red zone, they haven't been able to push it in. So if New England is able to score in the red zone, I think that's an indication that they can win. They will win this game. I will say that. If they get in the end zone over kicking field goals, they will win the game. That's a bold prediction or statement there. Looking at the other side of the ball, Tennessee's offense versus New England's defense. I think something interesting from a familiarity standpoint is Bill Belichick knowing Romeo Crennel. And Romeo Crennel is the defensive coordinator of the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans played the Tennessee Titans twice in the past 3 weeks. So obviously there are some things there where Belichick may look at that film and say, what did he do in certain situations? Not that Houston had a ton of success versus Tennessee, but they certainly don't have the talent that New England possesses on defense. So that being said, and they did win in that game that was more important of the two, where they actually played their starters in that game. So that's interesting. I wonder if Belichick takes some wrinkles from what he saw from Crennel. Now, what I've noticed from watching Tennessee is that it still is all about Derrick Henry. It's not really as much as people want to think Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill has been playing very well. And when he's set up to play well, right? I think it's all through Derrick Henry. So if you stop Derrick Henry, you stop the Titans offense. The big plays of the Titans come off of play action. The big plays from the Titans come out of sets that look like run sets. So it's out of 2 tight ends. It's out of a fullback and a tight end. It's 2 receivers, a fullback, a tight end. 21 is what it's called. Or, it's like, it depends on really what the Titans want to do here. And my thinking is that Tennessee has been one of these teams that uses a lot more 2 tight end sets. They use a lot of fullback action more than the average. And they use multiple tight ends. So whether it's 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends, they like to put tight ends on the field, which is actually a smart thing to do versus New England because New England has great corners. So you don't really want their corners on the field as much as you want their linebackers in coverage or their safeties in coverage. So that actually will help Tennessee move the ball, in my opinion. As we've seen, Houston, Baltimore, and teams like that utilize their heavier packages to success versus the Patriots. and also Buffalo to a certain extent. So that is good for Tennessee. But I think it's interesting. It's just really, to me, like I'm trying to say, it comes down to whether Derrick Henry is successful or not. If Derrick Henry is successful on first down, if Derrick Henry is successful early in the game, then it's definitely going to be trouble for New England. I think New England, what they're initially going to do is they are going to force Ryan Tannehill to beat them. So they're going to put their corners on an island, and they're going to say, Ryan Tannehill, you need to be accurate, you need to be Peyton Manning, and you need to put this in a perfect spot. And I think really what they're going to try and do is take the middle of the field away and force him to throw to the sidelines. And they're going to have a bunch of people in the box to try and contain the run. That's what I think they're going to do. They might even go bear package. They might have, I don't know if they'll go with their traditional like 3-4 set, but I just think there's going to be a lot of big dudes up there for New England to stop the run and to stop Derrick Henry. And it's going to put guys like Gilmore and J.C. Jackson in uncomfortable positions, which they've been in all year. Now, what I think is a big thing for New England is getting to third down and long. New England is the best third down defense, not just of this year, but actually of all time. They have the greatest third down defense in NFL history, according to the statistic. Titans are 18th third down offense. So if the Titans get to, let's say, 3rd and 7 and longer, New England should be able to get off the field pretty easily. So that's why I'm saying Tennessee has to be excellent on first down. And I think the Tennessee approach to moving the ball should be, give the healthy dose of Derrick Henry, but don't forget to pass short on those first downs. When New England is playing for the run, pass out of those sets with multiple tight ends, with a lot of big people on the field, right? You want to pass versus New England's linebackers. You want to get those advantages. So whether that's a swing pass to Derrick Henry or a pass to Jonnu Smith, you want to take care of those opportunities on first down to get to manageable third downs if you need to. That's, I think, is a big time matchup in this game. Now, since Ryan Tannehill did take over in week 6, I talked about the competition. They've been first in yards per attempt with 9.6 yards per attempt. That's very high, 9.6. Second in completion percentage at 70%, and third in rating. But like I said, this is all about Derrick Henry. When Derrick Henry is successful, it pulls up the linebackers, it makes people commit to the run, and that's where A.J. Brown has been breaking deep passes. That's where Corey Davis has been successful, and that's where Jonnu Smith has been successful. Now, the biggest thing to me that I think the Titans have yet to face is a secondary that is New England's. A secondary as capable as New England's is. New England is very, very good in the secondary. They are the best secondary in football, and they're the number one pass defense. So what they do very well is play man-to-man coverage, and I think that will enable them to commit more people to the box. If for some reason Corey Davis and A.J. Brown are winning their matchups versus J.C. Jackson and Stephon Gilmore or Jason McCourty or whoever's on the field, then that means Tennessee has a great chance of winning. Honestly, if you're a Titans fan and you see Corey Davis and A.J. Brown winning 10 yards or deeper down the field versus Gilmore, J.C. Jackson, and Jason McCourty, then you should be very happy because that's going to open up their entire defense. New England's defense is a result of their corner play. And when their corners are playing well, they are a very tough defense to go after. But when their corners are not playing well, as we saw versus Miami, you can take advantage of their defense, right? Because they put such stress on their corners. One of the interesting things to me in the passing game is actually that Tennessee is the worst offensive line in football in adjusted sack rate. I didn't think this was the case going in, but when I looked up the stat, I was kind of shocked. 11.2% they get sacked or adjusted sack rate. So that's intentional groundings, that's intentional throwaways, that's getting sacked or hit your quarterback. New England is 8th in adjusted sack rate defense. So I wonder if New England is going to commit to their zero blitz scheme or if they're going to just try and rush 4 and play more coverage in certain passing situations. I think that's interesting because Tennessee has proven this year that they are not very good at protecting Tannehill in passing situations. When looking at the run game, which I'm talking about Derrick Henry, Tennessee is 4th in adjusted line yards. New England is 6th in adjusted line yards defense. And Tennessee is very good in their power rank offense, which is like 1 or 2 yards because Derrick Henry is such a load to bring down. Now, weather could affect this. Like, if Derrick Henry is playing in the rain, that's going to be actually more difficult for New England to stop, because it's more difficult to tackle people in moisture than it is to tackle people when they're dry, right? Because you could slip off them. It's difficult to get a handle of the guy that's carrying the football. So that could actually help Derrick Henry, and that could help both running games. But there you go. That's the breakdown of Patriots-Titans. Went in depth there, but I think it comes down to simplify it. On offense for New England, if they're able to run the ball with decent success and then hit some play action over the middle of the field, and also, get creative. If you see them getting creative with like handoffs to N'Keal Harry and it's being successful, and screens to Burkhead and White and that sort of stuff, and their short passing game is successful, I think they'll score. And once they get to the red zone, remember, I think they will score. On the other side, if the Titans are winning their matchups at their receiver positions and Derrick Henry is successful on first down, the Titans have a chance to win. I think this game is the best from a coaching perspective because of the familiarity between the two teams and because of the student versus teacher that we have here. But I am ultimately going with New England, because I do believe that they can execute the game plan better than the Tennessee Titans can. I think being at home, it will help them a lot. I think their defense will come to play in this game. And if this game does become a weather game, I think that does help New England more so than Tennessee. I do think Tennessee is one of the more formidable wild card opponents that New England could have played, and I actually wouldn't be shocked at all if Tennessee beat the Patriots in this game. But if the Patriots come to play and play their best game, I do believe they will win. I am going to say that New England wins this football game 24-20. I will take Tennessee plus 4.5, although I'm not exactly confident with it. I don't think that either team will blow each other out. I think this is going to be a grinded out type of football game, and especially if the weather becomes a factor. I think because both teams know each other so well in terms of the coaching, I think it will make it a close game for both sides. So I have New England winning, but I think it's going to be a great game. I think this could be the best game of wild card weekend.